Hello and welcome back. So, got my paint sticks in the mail. Went ahead and got 9 or 10 of them. Dick Blick has a certain price where if you go over, you get free shipping. Of course, the free shipping takes a long time, so I paid a little extra. And now I have some white oil sticks, so I can actually continue work on this painting. I think I haven't done much since the last video because I was out. Now, one of the things is once this dries, which it has, it's been about a day or two. Little Granddaddy Long Leg running across there. You can paint over it, so that will help with trying to highlight some of this glass area. And so I'm just going to jump back into working on, I believe, her arms now that I have some white. Go ahead and open it, and I always just peel back the paper, pop it out, and I usually find it easier and then throw it on the floor because, you know, it's a studio. I usually find it easiest to pull the paper off, just because, but I had a friend long ago in college who would slide it back and forth, and that would allow him to keep his hands clean. Only person I ever knew who could work with these and keep their hands clean. I've got a couple days off, so I'm not going to mess with the gloves. Still too warm. So like I can take this direct white and come back in here and brighten up this area and even sharpen up that line, get a little bit of a sense of a reflection in here and back in here, so the glass tends to look, you know, more glass-like. Go figure. So I'm just going to hit a couple of those just to give you that idea. I'm going to go back into this arm. Now, like I said, I am going to have a slight dilemma here because this has dried as the painting falls off the wall. This is dried, and so mixing back into that again. So really what I'm going to do is just very lightly lay in some of this red and lay the white back in. And I can get pretty close, and then I can take my finger and blend it just a little bit. And that will sort of hide that transitional from wet to dry. And now I've got a wet surface area to work into. So we come back up here, get her thumb coming into the wrist, and then up. And I wanted to get this arm right, because obviously the arm behind it is going to be affected and, you know, determined by how long, you know, where the width of this arm is. I know I said that very convolutedly, sorry. So now just coming back in, doing this blend, and now I've got that wet transition as opposed to a dry spot. And right now here, this is actually going to help me because I can get a little bit of this fold depicted. As I come back in here, and now I'm feeling like that's a little strong. Use a little bit of the orange as well. And sort of drag that back out. I'm working back and forth. And I think what I'm going to do is in a little bit, I'm going to move the camera and splice in another video where you can actually see the blending much more close up. Hopefully that'll interest you all. Now that I've actually, so I got some software, got an app because I'm using an iPad to do this, and the app allows me to actually photo edit, go figure. So now I'm going to switch. So these are my warm colors because this is going to be a light area, but some of this arm I want to drop into shadow here, so I'm going to use some cooler colors. I'm going to start with Alizarin Crimson and Phthalo Blue. Now I've got my classical music ad laden. So now, right off the bat, this is going to be way too dark. Way too blue, probably. You know, it's looking almost like a different person. So one of the things I can do, never finish that. That's Pandora in the background. So I'm just going to take some of this alizarin crimson back in here. And the other thing I can do is they make what they call a dioxine purple. I think that's the dioxine purple. And so the oil stick will dry, congeal. I think I once had a chemistry student tell me, corrected me. I'm going to lay a little bit of this purple in here too. And now when I come back with the white, now I'm going to peel some of this folded back that's dry because it's going to allow me to keep a cleaner edge line, because I don't want to have what happened right there happen. So now I can come back in here and see, now I'm getting a much better, less aggressive jump in value. And of course value, some colors have inherent value, but also the value is determined by how much white you do or don't add. So I'm happy with the value of this. I'm not 100% thrilled by the color. But that's fine, because see, like what I can do is now just go, okay, we're going to accept that color for now. And as I said, I can always paint over it again. And that's the advantage of working with an opaque or semi-opaque medium versus something like watercolor or translucent media. Notice I said semi because you can do underpainting. The undercolor, the color beneath the color you're laying on can have some effect, and you can use that to your advantage, or it can become a pain in the patchouli. So now I'm feeling like that might be too red again. And too dark, too red saturated. So take a bit of a little yellow. I'm using the yellow azu. They do make cadmiums, but I just find like the naphtha red is a better mixing red. It seems truer. Cadmium is just touch blue in there. Mixing of the color, creation of the color. So I like the naphtha, it gives me a great color. Now where the arm passes under the other arm, now right now see how yellow this is here, and this is a much paler pinkish tone. So to make it look more like one continuous arm, again peeling away some of the dried oil stick. So I'll lay some yellow on top of that. And also another thing with the paint sticks, the sequence, you know, whether you put down white and lay yellow on top of it versus the other way around, you know, where the orange goes in the sequence, gives you different colors. So I encourage you to play around with that, make discoveries. You know, that's the name of the game, making art, is in many ways it's just making discoveries. So see, I came back in here, and maybe the camera isn't picking it up, but there's a really subtle shading of this arm as it turns back over, and shading. I'm not adding black, I never add black, but I'm adding more pigment, a little bit more red, a darker value of a warm color. And now in here, I want to come back with that dirty purpley blue. can get this shadow right here on this part of the forearm. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm switching my white. I'm going from a warm white, literally meaning a white that has warm color on it. And now, so see, I've got this one that's got cool on it, and this one that's got warm on it. And that's going to help me keep from turning it to mud. And now I'm going to drag right along that edge, creating a little bit of mud. But to make sure that doesn't go anywhere, wipe it off. And that, that only took me 20, 30 years to figure out. And, it's sometimes that mud, sometimes that loss. Okay, so right now, these two arms are not the same arm. Do I care? A little bit. So now I'm going to come and start this up again. So using the alizarin crimson, deoxing purple, and see, now I'm like just painting over what was there before. And I can either try to blend it in to what exists. I think that'll work. So now just using my finger a bit. And some people will use these things and, try it, see if it works for you. Use the paint sticks to get a very soft, and you can get almost a velvet-like texture by using your hands or they sell blending sticks as well. I like the more painterly, physical, layered, textural quality. So I tend not to do much of that finger blending that I just did. So now I'm, getting some more of this warm color, implying a cast shadow from the arm, realizing that's going to get in there more. Coming back, a little more highlight of the hand that you would see through the glass. So I'm going to switch to a time lapse, skip forward for you so to let you watch a little bit of that process. Maybe I'll get really fancy and add some music to it, the time lapse interlude. So not only watching me create a painting, you're also sort of watching me learn how to step up the video game. So hope you enjoyed that part, and I'll be back after some painting. All right, back again. Thought I'd move the camera, obviously. Coming here just a little bit closer so you can get a sense of the blending. Just before I came on camera, I was holding my phone, trying to figure out exactly what this is here. My hand, we've got knuckles like this. Bit of a protrusion in the wrist right there. Because I have this little snuff box, a muscle right in there. Supposedly that was going to go away when I had surgery on the tendons in my hand and my thumb, but and I was so fond of them, they didn't leave. So again, some of this is dried again, so sort of picking back up actually sort of allows me to get this thumbnail a little work over. That didn't go well. So that's what I mean about getting muddy color. So there was some just a touch of green on my white. And so that created that little bit of mud. Actually, it looks like it might have been on the yellow. So that's like you really got to watch. Like you can see, there's a little bit of green right in there. So you just got to watch for that. And sometimes you want to love the mistake, cherish it, let it work for you. And other times it's exactly that, a mistake, and it pisses you off. But either way, you know, I probably said it last video, the idea of making art is kind of striving for imperfection. I'm not, this will sound a little weird, I'm not trying to make a perfect, trying to make a good painting. But perfect may be a fool's errand. I mean, don't misunderstand me. I'm not going to let a piece of crap go out of the studio. That's the thing, you know, if I get really sick and I don't think I'm going to paint anymore, I'm going to have to come out of here and destroy a couple of things. Because I do save unsuccessful paintings, paintings I don't want to get out in the public. It's something I may paint over eventually. So I don't want anybody finding those after I'm gone. Moreover, I don't want any of them ending up in some collection, some public collection somewhere. It would just be embarrassing. Obviously, I would just be embarrassed, but still. Clearly, I do have some pride. So see now, here I'm going to let that mud happen. But to make sure I don't take it anywhere else, I'm going to wipe it off. So this is too blue. So I'm going to lay some more alizarin crimson on top of it. I'm going to take my cooler white. So see, you can get that blend back in. But to show the tendons, I'm going to let that, some of that blue stay in there. Now, I want to move on. So see, you've got this sort of darker red shadow being created on the bar. So I'm going to break the plane right here with the shadow. I know in previous videos I said it, but it merits saying again. You notice I'm not working out to the edges of my paper. For one reason, that piece is cut on the diagonal. But and that, I had an instructor who was, and I know his goal, Stuart Campbell, you should look him up. Excellent, excellent painter. 40s and 50s was his most productive period. But Art Students League in New York. But he had said, trying to get you to conceive of your whole canvas, your whole surface area. But his remark was the first 4 lines of your painting are the edges of the paper. And me being me, went, well, nobody else is making my first 4 lines. And I have never worked to the edge, never worked to, never worked to the edge since. Thus, nobody else is doing any of my painting. I'm doing it all. And what I haven't really done in this piece, breaking that plane can become very useful to can make the painting that much more interesting. You can emphasize some stuff. I'm sorry. Might get back to music now. There we go. Where was I before Pandora interruption? So, of course, now with that theory or that approach of not working to the edge, when I decided to start playing around with stained glass, that presented a real problem. Because you gotta work within a rectangle, and I've done some methods of solving it. I haven't totally solved that problem yet. So now I'm trying to get this highlight color down here. So I've laid down the orange, I'm gonna lay in some white, and then come in with the yellow. My suspicion is I'll come back with the orange again. Yeah, definitely. Because see, that's way too yellow. Clearly, that surface and that surface aren't the same. But this should give you an idea about the mixing. So now I'm going to come back over with the orange again. And now I get closer to that color over there, down below. But, not perfect. A little bit more white, a little bit more yellow, back and forth, building, shaping that color. Creating what you want it to be. Now I see a little bit of the underdrawing here is popping through. So we'll lay a little more red into that. That helps me also delineate that surface a little more. But that's what I was talking earlier about. It's not truly a translucent media. And now, of course, we can see the bar through this wine glass. Lost my rag again. Oh, there it is. So I'm going to show some of that color here, and then fade to white as we come up. That's what I was talking about with texture. I'm pressing really hard, getting some texture, and then letting it smooth out. And now, going the other way with a little cool, just sort of bright white. Trying to create that lip. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to stop it there. Remind you all, if you like what you're seeing, please give me a like. I'm going to try to be a little more faithful about posting, sharing these images as I go, particularly this painting as it develops over the next week or so. I had intended to paint a particular bike race that I'm quite fond of, this, but it snuck up on me, and I'm not ready to paint it yet. I don't know. She was flying along here. I always thought the race was later. So I will not be painting the dolphin. But anyway, so give it a like. Make sure you're around to see the next videos. Get a notification if you subscribe and when I post the next one. So I'm going to try a little bit of orange and then a touch of yellow. And then add some white and see where I end up. See if that's closer to down here. I don't think it's going to be. Where'd my white go? There it is. Yeah, see, the white is too much up on the surface. So now, my white just went under the table. Help me remember that. But anyway, give me a follow, give me a like, share it with your friends if you like what you see. I'm at gregleach.com. I'll add that in the description. You can also find me on Instagram at GregArtist and Twitter where I'm the Art of Cycling. But hopefully you're enjoying watching these, and hopefully I'm giving you good value for your free for the free video. Thanks so much for taking the time to look. Please feel free to comment.